Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to the third webinar episode of ProPak Philippines, sponsored by Multivac. Today's theme is packaging alternatives during COVID-19 pandemic, powered by Zoom and broadcast by Informa Markets. Due to the unforeseen circumstances, Mr. Clark Simoy Nebrao, our moderator for today, couldn't make it to join the webinar. However, yours truly, Algendrix Escasinas from Informa Markets, will be your host for today. We just want to let everyone know that we are also live on ProPak Philippines YouTube and Facebook accounts. So just in case you get disconnected here on Zoom or couldn't get in, you may watch us through a live stream in our social media. Before we start, please be reminded of our housekeeping rules. All microphones and videos of the attendees will be automatically muted, and the chat box will be disabled throughout the session. If you have any questions to our speakers, please type it on the Q&A box, which you can see on the top or at the bottom part of your screen, depending on which device you are using. Should there be any internet disruption during the session, please be patient and try to sign in again. Towards the end of our webinar, we will ask you to complete a survey. Please take a minute to answer the survey before leaving us today. Your feedback will help us improve our future events. Our first invited speaker for today's webinar is a well-known speaker when it comes to packaging. He is usually being invited as a presenter at DTI and DOST seminars and conferences. He graduated at the Central Philippine University in Iloilo with a degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. He also took his Master of Engineering major in Chemical Engineering at the De La Salle University in Manila. Not only that, he also went to Michigan State University where he took his Master's in Packaging. So, to start the session, our first speaker will discuss packaging design options, optimization in the pandemic situation. Please welcome Engineer Bernie C. Cangrejo, Chairperson for Packaging Engineering Department of the Central Philippine University. Hello, Engineer. Good morning.
Good morning, hello, and good day, everyone. Greetings from Central Philippine University, Iloilo City, Philippines.
All right. Thank you for joining us today, sir. But before we proceed with your presentation, let's see first what our attendees know about today's topic. So for everyone watching right now, a poll question will pop up on your screen. So here's the question. How significant and still impactful the strategy of optimizing package shape and size during this pandemic period? Do you guys think it's completely significant? Is it very significant, moderately significant, slightly significant, or not at all significant? Please cast your vote now, and let's see in 10 seconds what you guys think. So please cast your vote now, everyone. All right. Let's see the results. As we can see that most of you think it's completely significant. Engineer, what do you want to say about this?
And so thank you for the feedback to the poll, and I'm glad that you found it significant and impactful, the package optimization related to structure, because basically that would be the focus of my presentation today. And that is package design optimization and finding the most economical proportions for packaging structures. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer. Now the floor is yours. Please take it away.
And so this time, I will now transfer and share my screen for my presentation. So once again, good day everyone. The theme packaging alternatives during the COVID-19 pandemic is quite broad. So my presentation entitled Packaging Design Options Optimization in the Pandemic Situation will try to be more specific and focus on the most basic of packaging design options and optimization applications. So I will discuss briefly the effect of pandemic to the packaging industry. I will talk about the packaging design options, then discuss the optimization and optimum packaging design, and finally give specific examples of optimum structural packaging design in terms of the cost. Should you change your package design because of COVID-19? And so coming from the academe, I will try to answer and address this question with the most basic answers, applying and using the principles of packaging, engineering, and mathematics. So what is the effect of the pandemic to the packaging industry? So the COVID-19 pandemic has greatly impacted the packaging industry. As with everything else. And so consumer behavior patterns have changed significantly, and so must the packaging requirements, the packaging choices, and the packaging designs. So the pandemic has resulted to increase in e-commerce, online shipments, home delivery services, direct supplier to consumer, food delivery and takeaway, single-use packaging, etc. And because of these trends, the requirements will be for more robust and efficient packaging that would address the need of the now online channel, as well as maintain sustainability and, of course, consider safety during this pandemic time. So this picture would actually show you one adjustment or one move that has been done by Amazon, and this would be the use of the meal kit. And so the meal kit is actually would actually contain ingredient to cook a meal, which can actually be delivered to consumers. And so this would be like adjusting to the call of the times. And when we talk of the pandemic crisis, that would mean also that there is pressure to reduce the packaging cost. And so can we use now packaging design to have opportunities and reducing the cost of our packaging? Okay, and so most obvious, I think, would be the materials used in the packaging. And so if we use lesser materials, then that would translate also generally, that would translate to lower cost also. And so again, the question is, should you change your package design because of COVID-19? So I think one must adapt to survive. And so what now in the packaging design should be changed? So let me discuss about packaging design a little. So packaging design is defined as the art, science, and technology of enclosing and protecting products within a container or a package. And most of the time, we equate packaging design with the art aspect of design, meaning to say we equate packaging design with the label and the graphics. But also very important is the science and technology behind the packaging design, which actually I will focus. And so the goal of packaging design is to meet the functions of packaging. And so you design a package for the purpose of the package able to contain and transport, to protect and preserve the product inside, to inform and to sell, and also for utility and convenience. But above all, this would be the greatest consideration, that it should be cost effective. Okay. And so there are now four focus areas and options when we talk about the packaging design. And so the focus areas and options can be, you can focus on the structural package design, which would include the format, the structure, and the material used in the package. Or the focus would be on graphical package design, which would be on the graphics and the label. Or you can focus on engineering package design, which would be related to the equipment in the fabrication, in the process, and in the production, in the use of the packaging. So all areas actually should be considered. But for my presentation, as I have said, I will narrow and limit and focus my presentation. And so I will focus on the structural package design. Okay, so related to the pandemic, for example, would be the online shipment, the crucial role of distribution during the time of the pandemic. And so it is necessary to design an optimum packaging for distribution. And so like in the levels of packaging, we have our distribution packaging, or our transport packaging, or what we call now our shipper. So we will try to focus on this particular level or type of packaging also. And so I say now that successful packaging begins in terms of our focus on the structural design, the shape, the size, and the dimensions of the packaging that you will use. And so we will now try to answer the next question. What are the structural packaging design options in terms of size, in terms of shape, and in terms of dimension? So before I answer that, then let me explain a little about optimization. So optimization is an act, process, or methodology of making something as fully perfect, functional, or effective as possible, such as in a packaging design. So when we say optimization, for example, in short, when we say optimum, it is now the best. Okay, and so specifically in engineering, when we talk of optimization, we talk of the mathematical procedure involved in optimizing, and in calculus, that is actually finding the maxima or the minima, or the maximum point or the minimum points. And so in the case, for example, of transport packaging, and so to optimize your packaging or your transport packaging design, we want to maximize the protection. On the other hand, we want to minimize the overall cost. Okay, and so to do that, or let me first describe our transport packaging, which is also your distribution packaging, which is our shipping unit. And the most common type is actually your corrugated box. Okay, so it is concerned with the economical preparation and protection of merchandise for shipment and transport, your transport packaging. So talk about economics and cost and the function of protection. And so the question now is, what is an optimum packaging, and how do you achieve an optimum packaging design? And so there are two major considerations that I have focused. One would be on the protection, and the other one would be on the cost. So we want to optimize protection, meaning to say we want to maximize the protection capability of our packaging. And so to maximize the optimum protection, actually, we make use of the transport packaging design equation, wherein the strength of the product, plus the strength of the package should be equal to the severity or the strength of the hazard in the distribution environment. So like for example, during warehousing or storage, if you have stacked boxes, for example, and so the box at the bottom should be able, the product, the strength of the product plus the strength of the package at the bottom should be able to withstand the compression hazard or the load above it, such that it will be able to withstand the hazard of the distribution environment. And so with increased protection, we would decrease the damage levels. And so what are now the two ways uh, of doing a maximum protection? So we can make the product stronger or we can make the package better. So I can further explain that using this diagram. So if you have product and package, if you have designed it such that the strength of the product plus the strength of the package is beyond the strength or the hazard in the distribution, then we consider that as over packaging. While if the sum of the strength of the product and the package is below that of the environmental hazard, that is now under packaging. So here we have higher cost. Here we have damage or high damage cost. And so the optimum packaging that we want is that, so if we have product and package just equal to the environmental hazard, that would be okay. But the optimum design is when we improve first our product so that we will use less packaging. And if less packaging we use, that would be lower cost. And that is now the one considered as optimum packaging. And so we need to learn about the product, need to learn about the package, need to learn about the distribution environment when we design our packaging. Now, considering the cost, we want for the cost to minimize. And so the goal of transport package design in relation to cost is to minimize the sum of the cost of packaging and the cost of the damage. So as you decrease, for example, the cost of your packaging, the cost of damage will increase. And so they are inversely proportional. And so how do you find now the optimum cost design? And so the optimum packaging system is the one with the lowest cost, is achieved at the intersection of the cost of packaging and the cost of damage curves. In other words, we don't need a perfect packaging such that no damage will happen, because that would be very expensive. At the same time, we don't need a very cheap packaging, because that will also increase the damage cost. And so the intersection is supposed to be what we want. We want a packaging that is not so expensive but not so cheap either, such that the damage cost and the package cost, when you combine together, would be at its lowest. Okay, and so what are now the opportunities for transport packaging solutions? So the most obvious would be lightweighting or down gauging or reducing the amount of material, and that is my focus. Okay, and so when you reduce, for example, the amount of material, that would translate now to reduction of cost also. And in relation, for example, so lower packaging, lower amount of packaging material would translate to lower cost. And in relation to the pandemic, for example, a reduced amount of material would also translate to reduced surface area. And so that would be reduced area of contact for possible exposure or contamination with the virus. Okay, and so the proportions, dimension, shape of the package can be altered to reduce the amount of material used but still deliver the same capacity. And so what shape, what proportions would be lowest but still will give you the same capacity or volume, for example. So my specific question now would be, what structural packaging design proportions would give the least amount of material, thereby having the lowest cost, which is important during this time of pandemic? And so we will now give examples of the most economical proportions. And so we can use packaging optimization, which I have discussed earlier. And so in the case of cans, for packaging our closed cylindrical container, we want the volume to be maximized and we want the material to be minimized. And so this is where packaging engineers can employ the applications of calculus, including solid geometry and mathematics. So we will focus our attention on the case of a cylindrical container. So we want to optimize, we want to find the minimum surface area, because with minimum surface area, that would mean minimum amount of material, minimum surface area of contact of the virus, for example, and more importantly, that would translate to reduced cost. Okay, so in the case of a closed cylindrical container, we have different types, or we have different sizes and proportions for our cans, for our pails, and even for our cylindrical tanks. And so the problem would be to find the optimum dimensions or the most economical proportions for a right circular cylinder, or that would be a cylindrical container with a fixed volume. What should be the relation of the radius and the height so that the surface area would be minimum? In other words, given a fixed volume, what should be the ratio of the height to the radius? Equal volumes, but then which packaging will give you the least amount of material? So I'll give now this specific examples. And so I'm not endorsing, or I'm not criticizing any of the brands shown here, but my purpose is to give realistic and actual examples for my presentation. Okay, and so if we will apply now calculus, so we will set up our equations, get the derivative of the equations, and then finally obtain the relationship. So I will not explain anymore the mathematical details of the calculus. But then the final answer is that for a given volume, the minimum surface area obtained is when the height of the cylinder is twice its radius. In other words, this would be the winner. This would be the optimum packaging. The diameter should be equal to the height so that the minimum surface area would be obtained, or amount of material. So like for example, if we have a constant capacity or volume, 100 cubic centimeter, if you will actually plot the surface area with the radius and with the height, there is actually a minimum point, okay, which is at 5.42 centimeters. And so lower than 5.42 centimeters, then like if you will decrease now the radius, like in this case, the surface area will increase. In the same manner that if you will increase also the radius, like in this case, the surface area will also increase. And take note also that in the same manner that if we have a fixed amount of material, the same amount of material, the one that will give you the maximum volume for this particular cylindrical can is this one. So it's the same amount of material, this will give you the maximum volume. And so I have here other examples, most economical proportions for an open cylindrical container, for a cup. So with the different designs, this would be the most economical in terms of the materials. For a box with an open top and square base, the side should be double the height. Then this would be the optimum in terms of minimum materials. So we can further extend optimization in terms of insulation. So if you have an insulating package or a delivery package, which of these shapes would be most optimum in terms of not releasing the amount of heat or reduced amount of heat released? And so that would be related to the surface area. And so comparing for the same volumes, you have the lowest surface area would be for a sphere. And so ideally, your insulating container for the same type of material and the same volume, the best shape is actually that of a sphere. But of course, the same is true with my previous examples. There are other things to consider. So it's not only the structure, you still have to consider the other factors like related to marketing and so on and so forth. But this would be for me the most basic of the packaging optimization, and that would be for the structure. And so one example that I can give would be for IKEA, because of the reduction, just a very small reduction in the dimensions of their primary packaging, they were able to save millions because of the multiplicative effect of the reduction in the dimension of the primary packaging. Okay. And so to conclude now my presentation, so I have shown you some of the packaging options or alternatives specifically, or packaging design options and alternatives specifically on the structural aspect of the packaging. Okay, and then I included also the optimization process of finding the optimum design in terms of protection and in terms of cost. And so I will conclude by giving you the advantages of packaging optimization. And one aspect that I have really focused is on the reduced packaging cost, but there are also other advantages for packaging optimizations, especially now in this time of pandemic. And so let me share this quote. So to achieve success in any area of life by achieve success in any area of life by identifying the optimum strategies and repeating them until they become habits. And that would be also like in our fight against COVID-19. And so before I finally end, please allow me to advertise the Bachelor of Science in Packaging Engineering program at Central Philippine University in Iloilo City, Philippines. And finally, let me acknowledge the advisor and consultant of the Packaging Engineering program, Dr. Lejo Cibrania, the father of packaging engineering education in the Philippines. And so with that, I say thank you for watching and listening, and I hope that you have learned something new and something useful today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Bernie. Our attendees have truly learned new important information from your presentation. All right, now let's proceed with our next speaker. Our next speaker has more than 12 years of experience in the medical line. And for the past 10 years, he has been specializing in medical packaging industry. Let us all welcome Mr. Dexter Wong, Market Research and Support Manager and MCP Specialist for ASEAN from Multivac. Hi, Sir Dexter. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Thank you for joining us today, sir. Before we proceed with your presentation, let's have another poll question for attendees right now. So for everyone watching us, please take a look at your screen, and a pop-up window will open on your screen with a poll question that says, what are the common type of sterilization in the market? Do you think it's ETO? Is it gamma? Or is it steam? What do you guys think? Please vote now. You have 10 seconds to vote. Cast your votes now. All right. Votes are coming in. Let's see the results. Most of you have answered steam. Sir Dexter, what do you think of this one?
Okay, steam is basically basically they only meant for medication is in the hospital, and then certain products like the infusion bags, they will be using the steam sterilizations. But the quite common sterilization type will be the ETO and also the gamma. The gamma is quite popular in ASEAN.
All right, thanks, Sir Dexter. We're definitely excited to hear more from you. So now the floor is yours. Please take it away.
Yes, morning, everybody. I will share my screen first. Okay. Put in the presentation mode. Oh, sorry. Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Dexter Wong. I've been in this medical industry close to 12 years. Before I attached to Multivac, I was the sales managers for two companies, that is Beamers and Amcor. These two are the giants, big flexibles packaging company in the world. In 2017, Beamers has been acquired by Amcor. Now they've already combined into one. So I was, for the last 6 years, I was in Amcor, based in Singapore. I'm specialized in the packagings, flexible packagings for medical industry. So for my side today here, I will only talk about the packagings for medical industries, especially during this COVID-19. What are the supports that Multivac provide to the world? So this is my topic, hygiene and sterilized packaging technologies. Then I will talk about this. Then my colleagues, Mr. Wilfred, he will talk about the technology, packaging technology in food. Okay, so this is my agenda for today. First of all, I will give you an overview of Multivac Group. Then what is our Multivac product portfolio? And third, I will talk about the medical industry in ASEAN. Lastly, I will talk about only the COVID-19 approach. So I will not talk too much on other topics because it will be one whole day if we were to talk about everything. So let's have an overview of Multivac. Multivac is a German company. Okay, we have 87 daughter companies. What we say daughter company is the branches or the offices in the world, and then we have 14 production sites. Okay, in 2019, we have about 1.1 billion euro of group turnover, and we have 6,500 employees in the world, and then 2,000 employees in the sales support and service, like me, myself, and also Wilfred in my colleagues Wilfred in Philippines. Okay, so let's talk about our product portfolio from Multivac. First is the thermoforming packaging. So maybe from the knowledge, I think if those who are using the thermoforming packagings in the Philippines, they will know what is thermoforming packaging. But I will give you a brief introduction what is thermoforming. So this is a combination of a top wrap and a bottom wrap. Then we sit it together. Then you will have a complete packaging. This is how we thermoforming. We form it a pocket so that the customer can load the product in the pocket. Okay. Then second will be the tray sealer. Tray sealer is from the name you will know you need a tray. Then you need to buy a tray to put the products, put the device on top of it. Then you will have top layer like either Tyvek papers. Then you seal it on top. Mostly this machines is used from orthopedic industry like customers like Strikers, Depris, or Zimmer. So, and third will be the chamber machines. Chamber, we can we put it in the general form. A name we can call it is a vacuum pack. Okay, a good example is that you need to pack bulk of products like here, okay, and like Malaysia here, we produce a lot of gloves. So mostly, some of the customers they will put maybe 1,000 or 2,000 pairs of gloves into one bag, then they vacuum it, so they're easy for them to do the transportations. And lastly will be the marking and inspections. Marking and inspections is one of the hot topics for medical industry in these few years. That is the UDI, the unique device identifications. This is one of the trends in these MDM, medical device manufacturers. So basically this is originally from pharma industry, but it has been passed through the medical devices, mainly for the tracking purpose. Okay, so this is marking and inspections. So what are the multi-vac packaging technologies in the market? So we have food industry, one of our biggest portfolio in multi-vac. Okay, and second will be the industrial and consumer products. What do you mean by industrial and consumer products? Then you will see all the graphics pictures below here. You can see the light bulbs. You can see the pen drive. This is what we call the industrial and consumer products. Then lastly, which is on my area, that is the medical devices. Later on, I will show you what type of medical devices we have in this market. Later on, I will show you. Okay. Then now I will give you an overview of the ASEAN market in this medical devices industry. I think these are the 6 countries in ASEAN: Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, and Singapore. Okay. For Malaysia and Thailand and Indonesia, basically these 3 countries are very focused on the latex products. A good example will be the gloves, then followed by the catheters, then lastly will be the condoms. So this is mainly the latex related products. And then for the Vietnam, Singapore, and the Philippines, they are the something products like the big volume consumers, fast-moving consumers product, like it's not the food products, it's what we say is the strangers. I think in Philippines, we have one of our biggest customers, Terumo Philippines. They are using mostly our packaging machines. They are producing a lot of strangers and supplying to the world. So, okay, according to this World MDM fact books, these medical devices will continue to grow by 8 to 12% yearly. And then with this COVID-19 pandemic, there was such a production demand until end of this 2020. Yes, we do see some high demands of certain types of products in this market. And then later on, I will explain one by one to you all. Then why ASEAN, there is a growth? Because of the skills and affordable workforce in these regions here. And then a lot of MNC, they are investing in new facilities in Southeast Asia as an export hub. Okay, and for Thailand and for Malaysia, there are a lot of newcomers for these past 3 to 4 years. Like Malaysia, we have a Boston Scientific invested in a new big factory in Penang area. And then we have Smith & Medicals. They're doing orthopedics. They will set up factories in Penang as well. For Thailand, the glove industries are expanding. And for Indonesia, and also the glove industries. So this is basically that the overview of ASEAN. We can foresee that there will be a good growth of at least 8% to 12% yearly. So so I will talk about what are the opportunities and what are the efforts that we have done to support this pandemic. So actually, you need not to read everything. So what our support, multi-vac support in these actual situations. The one that highlight is the focus there, what we are focused, rapid delivery and priorities, okay? For your information, from one of the VMDA reports in 2019, multi-vac has delivered close to more than 1,200 machines to the world, packaging machine to the world. So we have our major productions is in Germany. The photo that I sent it to you, that shared it to you just now. So we need to, during this pandemic, we have definitely we prioritize it, prioritize the machines, then we shorten the lead time so that we can fulfill the needs of the market. Okay, so what are the COVID-related products? So what are the solutions that we have? I will share it to you in a short while. The first one will be the swab. Okay, we all know that what is the swab. Then followed by the gloves, and followed by the vaccine. Yeah, vaccine is one of the hottest topic in the market. So we will, according to the latest news, the vaccine will be only ready by maybe end of the years, and then I think China, they have did a lot of research on that. So let's wait and see by end of this year. Then we have the syringes that is linked to the vaccine. So I will explain to you all later. Then we have the blood test kits. Then lastly will be the laboratory testing tube. So right now I will talk about the first packaging solutions that we have for the swab. So what we know, the swab, they are mainly is from the cottons. Then right now we have also another type of the polyester swabs as well. Okay, so this is, as we all know, that right now the cases has been going up day by day in the world, especially in the developing countries. So one of the hottest product will be the swabs. Okay, so with we have been supporting these machines to few countries, like especially in US, then the US, then and also Europe. There is recently that we have sold machines to in Malaysia as well. They're doing the medical swabs, and then in Thailand as well. So with the marketing, with the multi-vac designs, we are able to deliver the machines with the output of close to 40,000 pieces of swab per hour. That means every hour you can pack roughly about 40,000 pieces of swabs. But this one need to be helped support by the automations, because hand loading, you cannot really meet up this kind of requirements. Okay, so what are the technical points for this kind of swab packagings? Basically, this one we have a tight sealing seam. That means the sealing areas is very, very tight, and then high output is required. And when you form the pocket tend to shrink back after forming. So this is some of the points that we really need to look into it, and then we already have the solutions for this. And followed by the disposable gloves. So what is the meanings of gloves, disposable gloves? From the picture here, definitely this is a single-use medical devices, surgical gloves. So gloves we also have classified into two types. One is the examination gloves, one is the surgical gloves. Okay, and the last one is quite, right now this sector is expanding. That is what we call the sterile examination gloves. Okay, so these are few types of disposable gloves in the market. Okay, ASEAN's, as we all know, that has dominated the global glove market, especially like country Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam, because of the raw material, the latex, and also the environment, and also the labor force, and so the skilled workers. So we are definitely supporting this market during this pandemic. So especially in Malaysia here, we are selling. We have more than 30 lines in Malaysia, and in Thailand and also Indonesia. We have about these two countries close about 10 to 15 lines. Then recently we are working on with customers, potential customers, investors in Vietnam. They are also planning to expand their products by producing these disposable gloves to support this pandemic season. So Multivac has been supporting these sectors for close to more than 10 years. So we already have a good knowledge and then in this area. And we will talk about this vaccine. Okay, you can see this machines is slightly different from what the previous machines. So this type of machines, what are the concepts for vaccines? That means it's in the pharma industry. What are the concepts that we need? Normally, they will need a door because every sectors here you need to open like the forming, sealing, and cutting areas. So separation of the technical and also the process area. So we have a lot of a minimum hidden spot in the process area. What do we mean by the process area? That is the loading and the cutting area. So we have a very minimum hidden spot so that the vaccines or your products or your any pharma products, you can be easily find if accidentally drop on the machines. And then we have a good visibilities and illuminations of the entire workplace. So these machines is what we can say is you can see through it. We can see through it because every owner we don't have any hidden corner, so that it's easier. And then easy cleanable with minimal sharp edges and dead corner. We won't have much dead corner, so easy for the operator to clean up. And then as we all know that for this kind of vaccines or this kind of pharma products, it will be running in a small batch. So every batch of products need to be count. So if let's say you accidentally drop operator or anyone accidentally drop one piece of one tablet on the machines, they have to actually recount everything. They have to check the whole machines. Okay, so for this kind of vaccines, for this normally it will be a combination pack because of multiple products in one small blister. So vaccine will be related to what the next product that I will talk about will be the syringes. So this is what we are foreseeing in the market maybe next year's. So we also have been working on with some of the vaccines potential suppliers, manufacturers. So we are proposing them to put a vaccine and also the syringes into one single bag. It's easier for the doctor to do their vaccinations. Okay, so this is flexible packaging for syringes is one of the hot topics, one of the hot products in this pandemic season, especially in Indonesia. So we do see some inquiries on the syringes, and then the company in Indonesia they are expanding in this area, and also one of our biggest syringes maker, ProPak Philippines, they are also expanding their business. So packaging is labeled blood analysis set, aluminum multiple layer flow. Okay, so we are what are so special about this kind of blood analysis set? Why do we need aluminum for this? As we all know that in either in food industry or the medical industries, aluminum is what we can say is a total protection packaging material. What do you mean by total packaging material? That is to protect your products from light, from gas, from moisture. Especially this device is definitely sensitive, very sensitive to the outside environment. So you need a total total packaging material that is aluminum, because once the device is contaminated, it will affect the test result. So this product is very, very critical, and also we need to handle with care. And then this kind of aluminum is, if those who are in the production side, aluminum is one of the sensitive products because it will oxidize quite easily if you do not keep it properly. And last but not least will be the laboratory product. This is where you can see from the pictures here, the doctors or the researchers, they have to store the blood inside this laboratory product, not only bloods or others kind of, I don't know, maybe other types of chemicals, so that they can conduct their research, okay, inside the laboratory, okay. Basically, this product is, you really need a very high output. So maybe one single product, you only can keep certain amount of chemicals or any testing material. So you need a very high output of these products, and also the support of the automations. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope you all learn some things from this medical devices packagings. If you have any questions, you can get back to me directly, or you can come to my colleagues in the Philippines, Mr. Wilfred Strubel. He will definitely help you on this as well. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Sir Dexter. I know that our attendees now have actually questions. So for all our attendees right now who are watching, please type in your question in the Q&A box. And later during our Q&A session, we will answer that, and we will throw it to our speakers so they can answer your concerns or your clarifications with regards to the topics that they have presented. All right. So for our last speaker, he has worked for more than 30 years in the packaging and food industry in different positions. And for more than 25 years, he works at Multivac as service engineer, product specialist, product trainer, and now running the operations in the Philippines. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Wilfred Strobel. Hi, sir. Good morning.
Hello, good morning to everyone. Greetings from Laguna in South Luzon, where I'm sitting in the moment. Yes, I'm looking forward to that presentation. Now we have a question, a poll.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Now we have a poll question for everyone who's watching right now. A poll question will pop up on your screen, and you have 10 seconds to answer this question. So, for everyone, what is the potential of reducing the plastic percentage of standard plastic tray without harming the performance of the packaging? What do you guys think? Is it 50%? Is it 85%? Or is it 97%? You have 10 seconds to cast your votes. Let's see what the guys thinks here. All right, let's show the result. All right, Sir Wilfred, you can see here that most of our attendees answered 85%. What do you want to say about this one?
Yes, that is correct. That is a figure. So it is possible to reduce the contents of or the share of plastic to packages for food or medical devices, yeah, for 85%. Yeah, so 85% of the material of the pack can be replaced by others than plastic. And I think this is a quite remarkable figure already, which is achieved by technology.
Awesome. Thank you very much, sir. Now, please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, I will share my screen with you. Screen 2. So now you can see, isn't it?
Yes, we can see now, sir.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Good. So my part, yeah. So this is the agenda of for this presentation. I talked just briefly about the operation in the Philippines. In general, the trend in terms of packaging in Asia, and what influences COVID-19 to the markets. And then I will just 3 types of packages. I don't want to go into the details about the technology of the equipment. I want to show you, I want to highlight, I want to focus the packaging itself. I saw you many pictures, so I hope you will enjoy that. And I mean, it's not possible to give anybody clear instructions what he should change in these times. Yeah? We only we can give you some suggestions and some hints. What are the possibilities in the moment now? Our office, okay, our office is located in Laguna in Santa Rosa. Here you see a picture. And so we have in our showroom here, we have a thermoformer installed and also some chamber machines, double chamber, and also a small tabletop chamber machine. Soon we will have tray sealer equipment next year, so that we can do some samplings for MAP packages and also for multi-fresh packages. And that is in general, that is the purpose of our showroom, sampling, demonstration, training. So we have a small meeting room here and show you our technology. Unfortunately, so we opened in February this year. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic and before that there was a volcano eruption, the number of our visitors was quite small. I hope it will change soon. Multivac in Southeast Asia in general, you see we have daughter companies in Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and Singapore has some offices opened in Philippines, Indonesia, Cambodia, Laos. So we are also in these countries here quite good presented. So some general trends in Asia. And how have this trend changed due to the COVID-19 crisis? And there you see sustainability was, before the pandemic, it was very important. And now it's only important. So it's a little bit reduced because the people, they look more to the pure function of packaging, food safety and transport ability. But they in the moment, so it's lower. But after that, it still will be very important and trend number 1, we think, this sustainability. Remarkable thing of hygienic concern is new in this poll, and it has, in the moment, of course, it has a very high priority. Then the next topic is, of course, the first speaker already mentioned it, e-commerce is very strong, growing here everywhere, and especially now during these times. And this will also be continued after the pandemic. So it is necessary to prepare for that, for e-commerce. And it's for every producer of food, it's necessary to be more and more flexible because the requirements of the market and of the customers also is changing fast. Another trend is the digitalization of packaging. That means that this is in terms of labeling and traceability, so you have a lot of more information on the pack than the shelf life and the ingredients. I show you here an example. So this is augmented reality. That means you have on your food container, you have a QR code, and this QR code, for example, if you watch it with the Google glasses, you see immediately much more information about the product, where it comes from, how it is produced, ingredients, how to prepare, and. So there are much more possibilities with this new technology than the old-fashioned only labeling and printing. So that is something that should be considered when you plan new packaging. The other picture shows a delivery robot. I mean, this is also something, I mean, now in the moment you see lots of Grab drivers and so in general, people on motorcycles delivering food or goods in general. This is in Asia doable because here the wages are quite low, but when you look to other countries there, it is not possible to deliver this all by humans. It's too expensive. And there we have the alternatives. Everybody knows it. Drones, Amazon is doing things like this, or self-riding cars. Or this is a quite funny idea, delivery robot. That means you order something. The robot follows you because he knows where you are, because he can identify the location of your smartphone. And so, for example, you go into a mall, you order anything, any food or any item, and half an hour later, a robot will approach you and deliver it to you wherever you are in the mall. So there are quite interesting possibilities. The next is, okay, a trend. This is not just in Asia. I think it's all around the world. Yeah, so three ways the packaging will change in the future. One is reduction of plastic, and this was the initial question. We can reduce the contents of plastic for packaging of food or medical devices, but we cannot get rid of it totally because it has this barrier features, and this is on the moment with renewable material, for example, not replaceable. So there will always, in the near future, we still have a certain amount of plastic in our packages. Then renewable material. This is also a little bit tricky because, as I mentioned, in the moment, renewable material cannot replace plastic. There are materials like PLA or PHB or so, but this material has no barrier features. And that is so that a gas can travel through this material, and that is not usable in the food industry. And the next thing is a higher content of recyclable material in new structures of this packaging. But there are some drawbacks because the use is limited due to regulations, because in some countries, for example, the direct contact of food to recyclable material or to recycled material is forbidden. So there are also you can use recyclable material, but it must be done in a smart way. So no direct contact to the food. So these are the three major trends. Okay. But in general, I mean, nobody is doing any compromises when it comes to food or food safety or the safety of medical devices. And to be honest, when you look to the medical device industry, there at the moment, you cannot see any of these trends, because there the people, they rely on the very high degree of safety of these packages. And so still in that industry, you don't see these trends in the moment, just for food or other packaging. And then some more COVID-19 related trends. Okay, we already talked about e-commerce has been growing significantly over the recent years. And meeting the packaging needs for this sector is a key requirement for every pack. And with the outbreak of COVID-19, we have seen an increased demand for even more products to be delivered. And so also the package must be according to this new distribution way. And okay, now I will show you, I mentioned I will show you many different pictures of basically just 3 types of packages. 2 you see here, so we can divide every pack in packs without headspace and with headspace. If you have a pack with headspace, you see the same product. That means it is a pack with a modified it's a modified atmosphere pack, short MAP. If you have no headspace, it is a vacuum pack. There are different types of package systems for vacuum packs. We will only look for one of this, for the vacuum skin pack. We call it, in our company, we call it multi-fresh. And in terms of MAP, we will just look for this MAP packages, for the pure MAP. There are some other. First, we start with a vacuum skin pack. I will introduce this to you. I will introduce to you the machine which is doing this, or the process of vacuum skin packaging. This is now an example. This is here now run on a thermoformer, but it's also doable in tray sealers. The product is packed onto the formed package cavity, transported into the sealing die. And here you see the upper part of this is the upper part of the sealing die, and there you have here a heating. This is the heating has a temperature of 200 degrees, and now this is the top web. The top web is pulled now into this heated, we call it dome, heated up to a temperature of 200 degrees, and now with this hot film we coat the pack and the product. And the result is, this is a perfect presentation of the food. This is now the finished product. So that is vacuum skin pack and how it is made. Here you see some examples of vacuum skin packaging. You see you can do it on a flat tray, but also on for tray with ready-to-eat meals or with liquid sauce or something. Even you can even put frozen goods into it, because this hot or this heated film can cover all. If it is liquid, frozen, or normal food, it can cover everything, and there's very good sealability around the product. Yeah, we think this is in the future also a trend, and everybody who is considering a new packaging concept should have a look to this. So this is actually we have several projects here in the Philippines for this type of packaging. The next is, now I explain you now a little bit about MAP. You see, this is our normal the gas mix of our atmosphere. We have 78% N2 and 21% CO2 and a very small portion of CO2. For our environment, for the climate is still too high, this content. It should be maybe 0.03, but unfortunately we hired the contents here a little bit, the humans. Good, so this is the normal mixture of the atmosphere. And what we do now during MAP packaging, first we remove this atmosphere, the normal atmosphere, and we replace it. We replace it with one of this, or with a combination of these gases. For example, for ordinary food, we use a combination 30% CO2, 70% N2. The purpose of the CO2 in this mixture is the CO2 dissolves in water containing products. It formates a carbonic acid surface and environment, and this lowers the pH level, and by that we inhibit the growth of bacteria, and so we prolong the shelf life. So this is one way for many different products. And when it comes to, especially for fresh meat, even it is if it is poultry, beef, pork, or fish. And so when we have fresh meat, and there we want to keep the fresh red color of this meat, and for that purpose we use a very high portion of O2, the gas mixture. Maybe it's between 70 and 100% O2 we use for this type of products. Okay, so this is typical gases used for MAP. And now I show you just some product examples for here, for example, for ready meals. This is now, of course, it's a trend. So for the e-commerce market, this probably are manual loaded ready meals. You see, we have trays with 1, 2, or 3 compartments or more, and they can, for example, they can seal it, as you see on the right side. There also the stay in the middle is sealed, so there's no connection between the 2 compartments. The tray in the middle is only sealed outside, and there's a connection of this 3 containers. So this is, for example, for the transport also, and also for the taste, it's not the optimum solution. Then you also, it's also quite common to load these trays with automatic, for example, with liquid filler or volume filler, whatever. Here you see some examples. You see here also again 2 and 3 compartment trays. You see also different shapes, round or oval. And here in the left lower corner, you see it's something like a salad, and the sauce of the salad is in the lid. So it's a combined, it's a multifunctional packaging. Then we have here, for example, these are some MAP packages from Japan. In Japan, this market is quite developed because they do this maybe since 15, 20 years or so. And you find in every convenience store in Japan lots of food, like this, small snacks. In general, they have smaller trays and smaller portions. That is remarkable, and also the color and the shape is a little bit different from the Western style. And here are some more examples for MAP. And in the middle, you see a portion pack with 3 different tastes, the same product, 3 different tastes. Then you have here a tray with olives, probably also MAP. So it's first sealed, and then there's a lid attached to the pack. So and finally there is we call it a label with attached with or applied with a full wrap labeler, because this label goes around the tray. And then here, yes, you have here sauce or something. So some examples for convenience food. So I hope that you got some ideas, maybe what you can do with your new product. And here I show you now something about how we handle this, the replacement of the plastic. We call it, in general, we call it paperboard. And here you see some packages produced on our machines, the different concepts where we used, instead of plastic, a high amount of cardboard, corrugated cardboard or paper. And then you should know that all of these materials, they are coated. They have this very thin layer of PE or PP, because I mentioned it, there's nothing that has this barrier features like the plastic, which is used now commonly in the food industry. And so all of these materials, they are coated with a thin layer of flexible film to deliver this barrier features. Number 1, you see, we call it, it's a mesh pack. It's for fruits, vegetables. It is, yeah, it's like a net, so it's open, so air can go through it, so it's ventilated, because normally fruits they produce CO2, and they require O2 for the ripening process. So it must for fruits normally the packs must be open. The advantage of this pack is, so if you have sensitive fruits, they are protected against pressure damage. And what you can do is you can wash it inside this container. Huh? So you just pour water in, you shake it, and pour the water out. So this is, we call it mesh pack. Number 2, so that is strawberries. It's also or maybe tomatoes or something. So, but this is a container for a very sensitive product, and it's very strong, because this is done with cardboard, with a thin cardboard, but also with rigid film. So it's a combination. Maybe there we have just replaced 50%. Number 3, that's a veggie burger. There we see a cardboard, which is also, again, it's coated with with plastic, and it's an MAP pack, and see it also with plastic film. Reduction, I would estimate, yes, the reduction of material maybe is 70% or something, 70, 80%. Number 4, that is it's a vacuum pack, it's a vacuum skin pack, we call it multi-fresh. It is flat board package. It's also there's a full wrap label around it, and that's a very nice way to present the product, as you see. Then you have here an opening aid, so you grab this the corner here, and you can open the pack. Number 5 is also a cardboard. And this is for a salad, and you see here also a small container of sauce into that salad. And number 6, that is, we call it a wooden board, because this is a quite thick piece of a carton board. It's a vacuum skin pack, and the advantage is here, you can, after opening it, you don't need to replace the product. You can put it, for example, on this wooden plate. You can put the product onto the table. So these are some of our paperboard solutions. And here I don't want to go deep into details. You can, as I mentioned, we can do it some on thermoformers, but also on tray sealers. You know, a tray sealer has no forming station, so on a tray sealer you need a pre-formed tray. So this tray is already pre-formed, and it's already coated. For example, you see here the cardboard tray for the tray sealer will be cardboard already coated with a thin layer of plastic. And then you can do these 3 other kinds of flat packs. On a thermoformer, there the bottom material comes from a reel. That is why we have here, for example, we can use form-able papers as a bottom web, for example. So this is slightly formed. It's a paper already coated, and then the package system process is also vacuum skin pack. It's multi-fresh. Or you can use here, as you see, cardboard, also from a reel. Okay, so you see, we have developed in the meantime many possibilities to fulfill this demand. Now we have now just a look to some packages of. This is now flatboard from a reel. You see, the bottom is just formed a little bit, just maybe 3 or 5 millimeter formed deep, and packaging processes again. It's multi-fresh or vacuum skin pack. The next pictures shows flatboard. So this will be done on a tray sealer. And we have here something that is, one moment. Oh. One is missing. Okay, this is the wooden board I already have shown you. And now, finally, I have prepared here a video of a tray sealer that produces this kind of packages. Basically, it produces this here. We call it flatboard 3D because here there are some small walls around it.
CAPG, donc c'est une charcuterie
This is
qui a été
from
rachetée par
France.
un groupement de producteurs bio il y a 5 ans aujourd'hui, dans le cadre de
It's a
transformer tous les
mid-sized
produits
tray sealer.
venant de ces étages. Cette charcuterie a eu assez rapidement pour objectif d'aller sur le libre service à destination des magasins spécialisés bio. Et dans ce cadre-là, on recherchait un emballage différencié de la concurrence.
You see the tray, so with the small walls here, and as you see, the advantage of this pack is you can the package is totally independent from the form of your product. It's this is an additional advantage of this vacuum skin packaging or this all these paper boards. It is flexible. So now it's transported into the machine, and there it is coated with this multi-flash process.
Et dans ce cadre-là, nous avons fait appel à Multivac pour son sérieux. Personnellement, ça fait 20 ans que je travaille sur des machines.
So you see,
qui sont connus pour leur fiabilité. Et on voulait un partenaire qui puisse nous accompagner.
Three of these trays are transported into the sealing die at the same time, then it closes, and then these are now the finished coated packages.
Et aujourd'hui, donc, nous travaillons sur cet emballage en magasin spécialisé dans tout le réseau français.
Okay, manual labeling.
Avec une machine qui nous permet de travailler sur les webcams, mais aussi sur des emballages plus traditionnels en atmosphère modifiée.
So and here you see the flexibility of this, many different types of products, different shapes, same machine. And yeah, okay. That is the end of my presentation. I hope you find it quite interesting to see these different types of packaging. It gives you some ideas. Here you see how you can contact us. We are also on Facebook, and feel free to contact us if you have any questions for that. Thank you very much for your attention, and yes, I'm looking forward to your questions to my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Wilfred. Definitely, I know that our attendees here are really excited to ask you some questions regarding Multivac and some pressing issues about our industry today. So I know everyone is waiting for this moment, so we shall proceed with the question and answer portion. We have all our speakers with us today. Their videos are turned on and they're already unmuted. So for everyone watching us right now, this is the time that you can ask our speakers. Please click the Q&A icon on your screens. Depending on which device you're using, you may see it at the top or at the bottom part of your screen. So please send in your questions so that our speakers could answer them for you. And if there are questions that we weren't able to answer, we will share it with the speakers and they may get in touch with you directly. So please make sure to leave your contact information with your questions also. So while waiting for the questions coming in to our speakers, this is the pre-webinar questions that were submitted by the registrants. So we have a question here to Engineer Cangrejo. Sir, for you, why is packaging design important?
Thank you for that question. And so package design is important because it is basic. So before you will be able to fulfill the functions that you want for packaging, then you must be able to do also the correct packaging design. In the same manner that for you to be able to obtain the optimum cost or the lowest cost in terms of economics, then packaging design is also very important. So packaging design would both influence the success in terms of the functions of your packaging and then the cost of your packaging. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. For the other speakers, this one's for everyone. So for you guys, what is the most effective way to lessen the cost of packaging? Mr. Wilfred, do you want to start off?
Yes, it's a thoroughly planning of the project very early and totally product related, of course, together with the marketing. And then you need to choose the best equipment which fits to you and is also, you can say, future proof, so that you later you are open to certain changes. I think that is the most, and of course, all the design calculation, as we have seen, the first speaker has shown us, that is the best way to lessen the cost of packaging, thoroughly planning.
How about you, Sir Dexter?
Because later, if you have an existing product and an existing package, it's often quite hard to do any changes, because you have a certain equipment, you have a certain marketing, you have certain needs, and there it's hard to lower the costs.
Definitely, sir. Thank you. How about you, Sir Dexter? Would you like to add on that one?
Oh, okay. Sure. How to lessen the cost of packaging in the medical industry? Okay, I think the speakers, Wilfred, and also Wilfred, and also our engineering Bernie, also talking about the package design is very important. How you optimize your packagings. Then one of the points we need to stress on is also the packaging materials. If you do not identify suitable packaging materials for your medical devices, when come to the mass productions, okay, if any leakage or any damage to your products, then the market recall that will cost you a lot of money. So my suggestion is you need to take care of the packaging design and also the packaging material as well, so that you will have a complete cost savings of your packaging.
Thank you very much, sir.
And
This one, yeah, go ahead, sir, engineer.
I may add, Sir Al, I totally agree with Sir Wilfred that it actually starts with the planning, with knowing your product. Because once you know what the needs of your product is, then you would be able to identify the correct type of material and the correct amount or the minimum amount of packaging that you can use if you exactly know your product. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Correct.
Yeah. Now, this is a very interesting question, very timely. No, for all the speakers. What is the major effect of COVID-19 situation in the packaging industry right now? Sir Wilfred, do you want to
Yes.
answer that?
Yes. So two things. As I mentioned it during my speech. The people are during times of COVID-19, they are more careless. They don't look for sustainability and environmental features of packs. What they want is they want to get food and store it as long as possible in their homes. That is what we have seen as a trend of consumer behavior when this started. Point number one. And point number two, we have now during this pandemic, of course, more projects than average before, because there was no sudden demand. And one of the specialties of this demand was we need longer machines, a longer loading area, because the people, they want also social distancing at their workplaces. So the size of the equipment has changed. And number three, it's definitely so that we in April, May or so, we noticed an increase of incoming inquiries for tray sealer for ready to eat. That is, and there's a significant increase of selling this type of machines. So tray sealer ready to eat. This has changed. It's more accelerated.
All right, thank you, sir. How about you, Sir Dexter? What do you think?
Okay. One of the major effects of COVID situation packaging industry, from my point of view, in the medical industries, there is not much changes. I think because of all the packaging materials for medical devices need to be validated and then calibrated. So you will not be too much of changes in terms of packagings. Yeah, during this COVID-19, even though for the swabs and even those for other some medical devices like glove, everything remain the same. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, sir. How about you, engineer? What are your observations?
I think because of the COVID-19 situation, the challenge for the packaging industry is to come up with solutions to address the changes in the consumer behavior. Like, for example, before the pandemic situation, the packaging were not designed for e-commerce. But this time that e-commerce now is very popular and very common, the challenge for the packaging industry is to come up with packaging designs, packaging materials that would be suited, that can optimize the transport or distribution via the e-commerce. That would be just like one example. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, another question. This one's for you, engineer. So, this is from Miss Jocelyn Palakpak. Yeah, she said here, good morning. Question, please, for Engineer Cangrejo. Hello, engineer. Does the approach, open parenthesis, equation, structure design considerations, etc., close parenthesis, also apply for upcycled raw materials? If there would be adjustments, what may you suggest, say for upcycled corrugated cartons? Thank you. So what do you think of that, sir?
Thank you so much for that question, Ma'am Jocelyn. And so, yes, I would say that the approach, the optimization approach, and the structural design considerations that I have mentioned can still be applied, and in fact, even be more significant for upcycled materials, because with upcycling, we are like reusing and then making more better products, and we want to do sustainability and protecting the environment. So if you now incorporate the minimization of the material by using the optimization, and so with the upcycling and the reduced amount of material, so that can also contribute to less wastage, which would be into the protection of the environment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I see Ms. Jocelyn also had another question that was already answered by Sir Wilfred on the Q&A box. She said here, for the paperboard vacuum sealing, is there a small-scale unit, for example, micro enterprise, available in the Philippines? And Sir Wilfred, you answered her with her question. You want to elaborate on that one?
In the moment, yes, I'm
You're currently typing. Yeah, it would be best if you can share it with everyone, so everyone can also learn about anything you would like to share about the question of Ms. Jocelyn.
Yeah, yes, okay, one moment. Answer. So, okay, one moment. So there was. How can I see my answers? What is the most effective way to lessen the cost of packaging?
No, sir. For the paperboard vacuum sealing, is there a small-scale unit available in the Philippines. You said
Yes, yes,
we will install a small solution to produce this kind of packages in our showroom. You want to
yes.
elaborate on that, sir?
Yes, we already we have some sample packs so that you can have a look to it and touch it and see it. But also we are going. We have delivered a small tray sealer to be able to produce this paperboard flatboard packaging in our showroom to make some samples with your specific product, because that is the best way. I mean, yeah, we need to see the product, and you want to see your product inside of this type of packaging.
Thank you, sir. Now let's have another question here from Sir Ryan Aurelio. Packaging decisions are often made based on internal stakeholders' opinions, without regard for what the target audience really believes. How do you think can this be resolved, Sir Dexter?
Packaging decision, packaging
Yep,
decisions are often
are
made
often
based
based
on
on
internal stakeholder opinions, without regard of what target audience truly believe. What do you think can be resolved? Based on the
or
internal.
engineer. Do you have
Yeah.
an insight about it? Well, Sir Dexter is coming up for his answer.
Yes, while Sir Dexter would be thinking of the answer to that question, maybe I'll try to give my opinion on that.
Mhm.
And so I would say that packaging decisions that would be based on internal stakeholders without considering or regard for the target audience will eventually fail. Because the main purpose of selling your product is basically to address, or the success of the sales of the product is basically on whether you fulfill the needs of your target audience. And so if you are not thinking, if you are not studying, if you are not considering the target audience, chances are the product will fail, and the packaging design or the packaging system as a whole will also fail. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir Dexter.
Yeah, I'm agree with the comment from from our engineer Bernie. Yes, this must not be happened in the medical industry as well, because as I mentioned earlier, for the medical devices packaging, you need to go through the validation process and calibrations and validation process. So every product, so your medical products need to be sent out to the, let's say a product is supplying to globally. So this product need to be sent to every user. Then every user need to come back to the manufacturers. Manufacturers will come back to the make medical devices maker. So this will be a very long process. So we need to consider a lot of factors. So this one definitely we will need to have the feedback from the end user. Is not only taken by the internal stakeholder.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir Wilfred, would you like to add on that?
So
Oh, okay. Sure. It's fine. All right, we have another question here coming in. What are your suggestions or thoughts on shifting flexible packaging to eco-friendly packaging? I think this one's for you, Sir Wilfred.
yes, but I mean,
From
we need to analyze your product and then find out what is the best solution for you, because you have seen we have different solutions for tray sealer, thermoformer. So we need to know the scope of your production, the needs of your marketing, and by that we can give you advice. You should consult us, and we can give you advice about the best packaging out of this paperboard solutions I presented.
yeah, thank you very much, sir. Another question here we have. I think this one's related to transportation and delivery. So, what are your suggestions for sustainable and flexible secondary packaging to ensure efficient transport and delivery? I think, Sir Wilfred, this one's for you also, related to an earlier question.
Yes, so we have, for example, now we have experience in several projects that for delivery, of course, the best way to pack, for example, ready-to-eat food, the best way would be the vacuum skin pack, because by that the food is fixed. It cannot move, it cannot be shaked, and so that would be the best. Other ways, other processes like modified atmosphere pack. So there's headspace. During the transport, the product will be shaked, and also there's condensation inside the pack. You cannot see the product anymore. So there are some drawbacks. So we would suggest the best way is a vacuum skin pack for example, for ready-to-eat meals when you want to transport them.
Correct, sir. How about the engineer? Would you like to add that on that one?
Also, and so I totally agree with Sir Wilfred. And so you need to consider the secondary packaging, but I think you should also focus on the transport packaging, because the packaging that would really protect your product would be your distribution packaging or your transport packaging or your corrugated box. So with a very good secondary packaging, flexible packaging, for example, combined with a properly designed transport packaging also, then I think that would be a perfect combination of a successful packaging system for efficient transport and delivery.
Thank you very much. Now, I think we have our last question here. For everyone, in terms of stability of packaging during storage and handling of products, will thickness of plastics help, or are there other factors we should consider? We are using LDPE or HDPE to pack frozen chicken cut-ups. So it's really more of a technical question. Anyone who would like to answer that?
In terms of stability of packing, yeah, I mean, of course, thickness of plastic would help, but as you have seen, yeah, we are now in the course of replacing this thick plastic, because it is not reasonable to have maybe 800 or more microns of plastic packaging just to protect the product. So there's this replacement is a smart way, because you have seen, for example, this double corrugated cardboard that can give a high stability to your products instead of plastic.
Yep. How about you, Sir Dexter? Do you have an insight here?
I'm sorry, I'm not in the
In the field, yeah, I understand. Correct.
in the
How
food
about you,
industry.
engineer? Mhm.
So if I may just add, and so like what are there other factors that we should consider? And so I think I will go back now to the basics and consider the product. And so know the properties of your product, because that will determine the type of plastic that you will use, as well as the thickness of the plastic that would be recommended. And that's at the same time, consider also the environment where your product and your packaging will be exposed. So you're saying that it would be on a cold environment. And so there would be also recommendations for the correct type of material, plastic material, and the correct thickness also that would be able to withstand or protect your product due to the cold temperature in the environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, engineer, and thank you to all our speakers who answered the questions of our attendees right now. For everyone who still have questions, you may get in touch with us so that we can connect you directly to our speakers if you have any specific concerns or questions that you would like to learn about their specific topics and their presentations. Okay, thank you very much to all our speakers who participated in the Q&A. And for everyone watching, we would like to remind you all that after this webinar, you will be redirected to our survey form. So please answer the survey to help us serve you better in our next events. We will also like to thank our sponsor, Multivac. Thank you for sponsoring this webinar. And if you would like to get in touch with Multivac, their contact details are flashed on your screens. So you can connect to them through email, or you can also check their website. Their numbers are also flashed on your screen right now. Okay. So if in any case, you may also contact us, and we can connect you directly to Multivac for your concerns. The presentation materials, except of the speakers, are owned and copyrighted by Informa Markets. The speakers are solely responsible for their content and opinions. On behalf of our guests, Engineer Bernie C. Cangrejo, Mr. Dexter Wong, Mr. Wilfred Strobel, I am Al Gentrix Escasinas. Thank you for your time. Until the next webinar episode of ProPak Philippines. Have a great day.